Hello, I'm Accurate, and you're watching Cosmic PvP Episode 4.
I'm Morgan Freeman, and you're watching Timberlake.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is your favorite self-proclaimed master here, aka Timberlake, and today I am bringing you guys episode 4 of Cosmic PvP Factions. Holy McMoly, huge shout out to Accurate for doing that intro for us, and to Morgan Freeman for being a new part of our intro. Alright guys, the much requested, highly anticipated base tour is here. Let's get into it. The first stop in any good base tour, of course, is the base's main source of money, and here it is. We are in our Blaze Grinder. We've got a little over a stack of blazes, but I quickly wanted to touch on kind of this design that you're seeing. So you can see when I'm facing it head on that none of the pillars are on the same kind of like on the same line, right? So you can imagine if you were shooting a cannon with Lucky TNT, you're only going to be able to hit one pillar at a time. So that's a pretty good thing. And keep in mind, this video is being recorded before the addition of the special creeper eggs with the lucky creeper eggs and the gigantic creeper eggs and everything like that. So no matter which way you shoot from, you aren't going to be able to hit all of the blazes at the same time, which is something that we were going for here. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that all of the walls and the floor here are watered. That's because you can't place creeper eggs in water, so it's a good idea to have something to that effect going on. And of course, the blazes are on these long pillars of obsidian here. That's just to make it as difficult as possible to try to creeper egg these blazes. Whenever hood rats raided into the base, they could not get our blazes, so it's fair to say that this is kind of borderline uncreeper eggable. Not to say that it isn't creeper eggable, but it's pretty much like one of the closest things that you're going to get to having uncreeper eggable blazes, if that makes any sense at all, without having to water them. So directly beneath kind of our blaze grinding area, we've got a layer of obsidian and then kind of just this dry layer here. I'm sure that this is to prevent anybody from creeper egging from this part of the base into the lower parts of the base. Here on Cosmic, you cannot destroy obsidian with creeper eggs, so that's a good thing to keep in mind. Right underneath of that, we've got our IGs on one side. Here's our iron columns, and right on the other side of the wall here is our creepers, and we have both set up the same way, so it's not worth showing both of them, but you'll see that these are properly water protected. The difference between a properly water protected spawner and an improperly water protected spawner is the corners. If you can see any part of the spawner without seeing water, then it hasn't been protected right. So you can see here that not only are all four sides protected with water, but also the corners are protected. This is because, of course, whenever a creeper blows up in water, it's not going to affect the spawner, so these have to be taken out directly with TNT from a cannon. So that's something to keep in mind. And then, of course, with the sponge on the bottom, so that it doesn't come down here, which, whenever they get down here, this is kind of a cool setup. What happens is, because those are in two different chunks, it doesn't stack the IGs together. So this is the separation between the two chunks. So when an IG falls, it's going to go to one or the other without staying on both, and that lets the iron production get kind of doubled in a way. And then beneath it here, we, of course, don't need the extra layer because at this point, it's all obsidian right here, so you can't creeper egg through it. Alright, down here we have our sort of sorting system, which sends all of the poppies into water and sends all of the it sends all the poppies into lava, sends all of the iron into the collection chests. There's almost always somebody AFKing these IGs, so these tend to fill up pretty quickly. We try to sell them as often as possible, but sometimes these can bulk up really quickly here. These are just some extra storage chests because the creepers also enter out into this part of the base, so all of the gunpowder tends to stack up a lot quicker than all the iron does because naturally we have a lot more creepers than we do IGs. So all of that's good. We've got a layer of glass and then a layer of obsidian. Once more, just to make it impossible to creeper egg into other parts of the base. This is pretty much paramount to success, guys. If somebody's going to cannon into your base, you want to make sure that they don't have access to all the layers at once. And so that kind of forces them to nuke the last wall if they want to get into the other parts. So let's descend further into the abyss here, where I honestly have no idea what this is. I think that this is some sort of a cannon or maybe an AFK acro grinder. grinder. Really, honestly, not sure. I don't know why it's set up here, to be honest. But over here, RIP the ghasts. We used to have ghasts, now we don't. Now they're gone. And, yeah, so this was our ghast grinder. I can come up here and show you guys. Basically, all of this, was watered, and then it pushed gas into cactuses, and then the gas would die on the cactus and drop their delicious emeralds, all the way into the chest through a hopper system, which was fine. And then here is where, unfortunately, the inside of the base tour concludes. Down here is our trusted grinder. This is what we give people access to once they've been in the faction, either Headshot or GoonSquad for a while. It's a very small blaze grinder because the one upstairs kind of takes up most of the chunks. We're hoping to fix that so that we can kind of have a 2-chunk blaze grinder down here and a 2-chunk one all the way up there. But for now, this is all we can do. So let's head to the outside of the base. Alrighty guys, and this of course is the outside of our base. So you'll notice that there's a dry layer of obsidian under me, and you might be going, Timberlake, what the hell? Like, that could be so easily AC-130'd or whatever. I don't really know a lot about cannons, but this layer of obsidian is actually at like 257. There's some sort of a, kind of a glitch where you can gen in obsidian using lava and water buckets above build height. So rest assured that even if TNT lands on top of this obsidian, it will not blow up. TNT does not blow up outside of world height. It can travel outside of world height, but it can't blow up there. So so that's why we aren't too concerned about having that. But alright, let's take a look at some of the defenses here. I'm not going to be showing you guys the bottom defenses because that would be not only a lot of work, but also it's a little bit difficult to show. It's kind of these weird, like, 45-degree regen type things on the bottom of the base. I don't really know, like, exactly what they are or how Headshot built them, but they do regen against being reversed, which is super awesome. Okay, so the first wrap is this this weird kind of backwards mine chat regen, which is pretty cool. So you'll notice that the regens are properly watered. If you don't know the difference between a properly watered regen and an improperly watered one, you should really look it up before you build a base. Not having your regens watered properly can make them a lot more easy to break, or a lot easier to break. So you want to make sure that you do water them properly, but basically you want to make sure that water flows onto the regen, water doesn't flow from the regen, if that makes any sense. So we also have the corner regen pillars here. It might be a little bit overkill, but better safe than sorry. Right outside of that, we have a couple layers of wraps with these brewing stands on top of them. I'm not sure exactly why you put the brewing stands up here, but I know that it's important. So a lot of you guys know that I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about when it comes to cannons, but the reason I think that this is important is to stop TNT from traveling just over the walls, right? So, I guess technically you could build a cannon up here and shoot just across the top of the walls, but these brewing stands probably stop that. Again, very sorry that I don't know why, but I know it's important. Alright, so directly outside the regen, we have what are called filter layers. These are pretty cool. So the reason you build these is because to hybrid, so to shoot a piece of sand like inside a piece of TNT, you need a 2-block gap. You can't have a 1-block gap. So whenever both of those travel through, they can't travel through here. And what's really neat is that just the TNT will travel through. The sand won't. So one of the two will. So if just the TNT travels through here, well then you're stacking sand, but you're never able to completely hybrid on top of that sand, so it can really screw people up. And of course these are staggered to make sure that it has kind of a backboard for the one piece to hit off of and the other not to. These aren't particularly hard to get around, but if you don't know how to do it, it can be a nightmare for your cannon. So these are pretty cool defenses to have. The rest of these are just your kind of standard wraps. Having wraps on the base kind of protects against corner cannons and left shooters. So a left shooting cannon is a type of cannon where people would start the cannon all the way back there, they would shoot in between the gaps of your walls, and then force the TNT to go left directly into the base, pretty much bypassing all of your walls. Building wraps prevents them from doing that, of course. So this is a pretty good idea to have. You'll also notice that our walls are quite a bit bigger than our bases. This is to prevent people from being able to just kind of shoot past the walls. So you never want to just have walls that are as big as your base. You always want to have them a little bit bigger. And if you're building on the world border like we are, you always are going to want to have at least one wall between your base and the world border, because there are ways to cannon kind of outside of the world border, so you want to be careful with that. Okay, no problem. Past most of the wraps and some of the walls on either side, we have these kind of staggered regions. Now you'll notice that these are staggered one block apart. So here there's a pillar, here's there not. Or I'm sorry, here there isn't. But you might notice that, hey, if I were to shoot right at this block, right, there's not a pillar here. There's not a pillar here, so it might be easier to regen bust. Well, rest assured that all of the pillars are staggered so that back here, there is a pillar. So no matter where you're shooting at, you're hitting at least one pillar. Again, I'm not entirely sure how regen busting works, but the person that built this base is very, very familiar with it, and he said that this is a really, really, really difficult design to break. In fact, he's not even really sure how to break it. He's had a few different cannoners try their hands at breaking these, and a lot have got through the first two, no problem, but the last one is what gives them a lot of difficulty because you've got to keep adjusting the barrel, and they're saying at this point that it might even, you know, kind of be a better idea to break these regions, right, and create gigantic holes in all of the walls, so nuke all of the walls, and then move the entire cannon over to the left one. So I'm not really sure why that would work, but he's saying that this is kind of the crown jewel of what makes the base hard to raid. So beyond this, we just have a few more walls, and that's all we really have for now. I know you might be thinking, wow, that's not a lot, but rest assured that all of these walls are trenched all the way down to bedrock. There's a lot of defenses on the bottom. There's a lot of pancakes and stuff on the top. We've got the wraps, we've got the regens, we've got the power. So we're planning on adding quite a lot more to this base, things like a bunch of different corner pillars and stuff like that. We're planning on having more boxes in here. We're planning on continuing with a lot of this type of stuff, but I figured I'd give you guys an idea of what the base looked like now. A lot of you guys wanted to know, and I got permission from Headshot to use this footage, so I figured I'd go ahead and let you guys see it. Thank you all so much for watching. Please be sure to check out our video sponsors. Chess.com, with over 13 million registered users, is the best gosh darn website out there to play, learn, and dominate at the game of chess. And also Moxie.com, MMOXIE.com, launching in April, will be a geek and gamer haven dedicated to accessories and apparel, and they're going to be making a lot of GoonSquad stuff so that you all can decorate yourselves with my garments. But I've got the inside scoop for y'all. On March 25th through the 27th, they're going to be having a pre-sale, and part of that pre-sale are going to be premium GoonSquad t-shirts, hoodies, and boxers. We got boxers, that's right. We've got undergarments for your nether regions. You guys can buy all of that sort of stuff. It's going to be great. Definitely check out the Moxie pre-sale, March 25th through the 27th. My name is Timalik. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I will see you all next time. See you guys. See ya.